Hello friends, welcome to Global Online. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss microeconomics theory. So here in this video we will discuss about demand analysis. So this is our first video on microeconomics theory classes, and if you want to join our crash course for UGC NET or SET in economics 2022, here we are going to provide complete theory lectures, complete MCQ lectures. We are providing mock tests on entire syllabus with solution PDF. Then we are providing notes on all the units. Practice MCQ set is available, and if you want to join this crash course, you can contact this number. You can send a WhatsApp message to this, and you can also download our global online app from Play Store. So this our app is available in Play Store also. By going through this logo, you can download our app. Then after downloading it, you can register by using your mobile number or email ID. Then you can search UGC NET economics. Then you can access all the material here. In this app we are having all the theory lectures, MCQ lectures, mock test, solution PDF, notes, etc. So here let us start with demand. So it is very basic concept in microeconomics. As you all know, demand means it is wish to have the commodity, and also not only wish, we should have ability to pay money for that good, and also we should pay the money, then only it constitute perfect demand. If any one point is missing here, then it will be desire, not a demand. So in this way, demand means when a person wants to have something and he is having ability to pay for that good, and he is also willing to pay for that, then only it constitutes a perfect demand. Then function of if you go through the function of demand, demand depends on price, income, related goods, substitute goods, etc. So we can write demand function as D is equal to F of P Y P R T. Here P means price, Y means income, price of related good, taste. There are so many other factors are there which will determine the demand. So next let us move to the types of demand. So when it comes to types of demand, here the first one is price demand. Price demand means various quantities of a good that a consumer is going to purchase at various prices, keeping other things constant. So price demand means at different price people will buy different quantities of goods by keeping incomes, price of substitute goods, other things constant. So it is known as the price demand. Then next one is income demand. Income in demand means the various quantities of goods which would be purchased by the consumers at various level of income. If the income level is low, then consumer will buy the goods at less quantity. When their income increases, they will buy the goods in more quantity. So the next one is cross demand. Cross demand means the quantities of a good or service will be purchased with reference to change in price of interrelated good or other good. For example, if a consumer is consuming tea and coffee, both the goods, so when the price of tea increases, consumer will stop using tea, then he will start drinking coffee. So when price of tea increases, demand for coffee increases. So it is known as the cross demand. The demand for one good depends on the price of the related good, so it is known as the cross demand. So these are very basic concepts, but we should remember. So next let us move to the law of demand. Yes, very easy theory. So law of demand means there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. So when price of the good increases, demand for the good will decrease, and inversely when price decreases, demand will increase. So this is known as the simply law of demand. So for instance, here you can take an example. So many examples you can take. For example, when the price of biscuit increases, the demand for biscuits will decrease. So in this way, there is an opposite relationship between price of the good and demand for the goods. This is simply known as the law of demand. So here you can go through this schedule also. When the price of the good is 10, the demand is 50. When price decreases to 8, demand increases to 60. When price decreases to 6, demand increases to 70. In this way, price 4 demand 80, price to demand 90. So in this way, when price increases, demand is going to increase, and oppositely, if price increases, demand will decrease. So this is known as the law of demand. So due to this inverse relationship, the demand curve slopes downward. So here in this diagram, DD is the demand curve. So because of inverse relationship between price and demand, the demand curve will slope downwards. So please remember it. And next, let us see shifts in demand curve. So a shift in the demand curve is when a determinant of demand other than price changes. So as I told you, there are so many other factors are there which will determine the demand for a good. So except price, yes, if any changes in the other factors such as income, taste, preference, advertisement, so then the demand curve is going to shift. So it occurs when demand for goods and service changes even though price did not. So the price is constant here. When we see changes in the other factors, when there is a change in the income level, when there is a change in the advertisement cost, then demand for the good will also change. So at that time, the demand curve is going to shift either right side or left side. So this we can see through this diagram also. Here DD is the initial demand curve. So let us imagine the price is same now. OP is the price, and at OP price consumer is going to buy OQ quantity of a good. Now the demand is the price is same, but there is an increase in the consumer's income. So when consumer's income increases, consumer will buy the good in more quantity. He doesn't care about the prices. So instead of OK quantity, now he is going to buy OQ1 quantity of a good. So in this here the price is same. Due to increase in income, what happens here, the demand is going to increase. So when demand increases, the demand curve will shift rightwards. So in the same way, if there is a decrease in the income level, even though price is same, if consumers income decreases, the demand curve will shift leftward. So this you have to remember very carefully. Then let us see movements along the demand curve. So when it comes to movements along the demand curve, here a movement denotes a change in both price and quantity demanded from one point to another point on the curve. So here the change is going to take place in the price of the good. Other things are constant here. If there is any change in the price, the demand is also going to change. Therefore a movement along a demand curve will occur when the price of the goods changes and quantity demanded changes according to the original demand relationship. So here when there is a change in the price of the good, then movements along the demand will take place. When there is a change in the other factors except price, then there will be shift in the demand curve. So in this case, when the price of the good is 10 rupees, the quantity demanded is 55 units. So yeah, other things are constant now. Advertisement, income, taste and preference, all are constant. If price of the good increases to 12 rupees, yes, when the price increases, consumer will buy in less quantity. Instead of 55, he will buy only 40 units now. So when price increases, the consumer will move upwards on the same demand curve. So this is also known as the upward movement along the demand curve, and also contraction along the demand curve. Inversely, when price of the good decreases, so then demand for the good will increase. So consumer will move downwards on the same demand curve. So this is known as the extension along the demand curve, and also downward movement along the demand curve. So now why demand curve slopes downwards? So as I told you, due to inverse relationship between price and demand, the demand curve moves downwards. There are also some other reasons. First one is law of demand based on the law of diminishing marginal utility. Yes, because of this, uh, demand curve is going to slope downwards because of price effect, income effect, and also substitution effect. Yes, because of all these reasons, the demand curve is going to slope downwards. Next, let us see exceptions to the law of demand. Yes, there is an inverse relationship between price and demand according to law of demand, but it will not work all for all the time. Sometimes the law of demand may fail. In some cases, law of demand is not going to apply. Instead of inverse relationship, sometime you are going to find direct relationship between price and demand. So this is known as the exception to the law of demand. So there are some cases, such as in the case of Webline Goods, in case of Giffen Goods, in case of some emergencies, future expectation. So in these conditions, the law of demand is not going to apply. So now let us see first one, that is Webline Goods. So Webline Goods, this is introduced by economist Thorsten Veblen. So Webline Goods, yeah, it is a good for which demand increases as the price increases. So Webline Goods are such goods where demand for the good is going to increase when there is an increase in the price of the good. Such goods are known as the Webline Goods. And these goods are all known as the high quality goods. So please remember it, Webline goods are related to high quality goods that are made well, are exclusive, and are having good status symbol. Such goods are known as the Webline goods, such as jewelries, then luxurious cars. Yes, all will come under the Webline goods. So here this is the normal demand curve, but this is Veblen demand curve, because there is a direct relationship between price and demand. Because of this, the law of the demand curve is moving upwards. The next one is Giffen Goods. So Giffen Goods was given by Sir Robert Giffen, and Giffen Good, it is low income and non-luxury product for which demand increases as price increases, and vice versa, means demand decreases as price decreases. Yes, a Giffen good has an upward sloping demand curve. Then the inferior goods for which there is direct price demand relationship are known as the Giffen goods. Yes, such as bread, rice, wheat. Yes, these goods are known as the Giffen goods. Yes, because there is a direct relationship between price and demand, and these goods are non-luxurious goods. Next, here you can see the curve for Giffen goods. So this is Giffen. This range is known as the Giffen good range. Yes, there is a direct relationship between price and demand. When price increases, quantity demanded also increases. Next, let us study about elasticity of demand. So elasticity of demand means the change in quantity demanded of a good to change in its price, income, and prices of related goods. So when price is going to change, demand will change. When income changes, demand will change. Yes, when price of related good changes, the demand for one good will also change. So here elasticity of demand means the change in quantity demanded of a good to change in its price, income, and prices of related goods. So in what percentage the quantity demanded is going to change related to price, income. So it is known as the elasticity of demand. So let us study one by one. So here the first one is price elasticity of demand. So price elasticity of demand means it is a measure of the relative change in quantity purchased of a good in response to a relative change in its price. So when price of the good is going to change, quantity demanded is also going to change, but in what quantity the demand is going to change due to change in price is known as the price elasticity of demand. And there is a formula to find out price elasticity of demand, that is price elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in its price. So please remember this formula. So this we can also write as EP is equal to delta Q divided by delta P multiplied by P divided by Q. It means price of elasticity of demand is equal to change in quantity divided by original quantity multiplied by original price divided by change in price. So we will use this formula to calculate price elasticity of demand. So next, when it comes to types of price elasticity of demand, there are mainly 5 types are there. The first one is perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand. So let us study one by one. So perfectly elastic demand. So in this case, what is going to happen here? There is a greater change in demand in response to percentage or smaller change in price. Yes, the change in price is very small, but the change in demand is very high here. For example, the demand for a product decrease or completely stops with a little change in its price or and vice versa. So the price of petrol increases in very small quantity, but the demand for petrol decreases in very large quantity. That is known as the perfectly elastic demand. So just remember, in this case the change in price is very small, but the change in demand is very high. In this case the elasticity of demand is equal to infinity. So these values you must remember. And the second one is perfectly inelastic demand. So in case of perfectly inelastic demand, consumers are not going to respond to the price. So price may increase or price may decrease, but the demand is not going to change. So this is known as the perfectly inelastic demand. For in case of some necessary goods, it is going to happen when price changes, price increases, price decreases, people won't worry, so they have to buy that good. So in this case, elasticity of price elasticity of demand is equal to 0. Then comes relatively elastic demand. So relatively elastic demand means the percentage change in the quantity demanded of a product is greater than percentage change in its price. So in this case the change in price is less and the change in demand is high. So it is known as the relatively elastic demand. So in this case price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Next one is relatively inelastic demand. Here the change in demand of a product is less than the change in its price. So the change in demand is less than the change in price. So it is known as the relatively inelastic demand. So in this case the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. The next one is unitary elastic demand. So in case of unitary elastic demand, the change in demand and the change in price both are equal. In this case elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So here you can see the diagrams also. We can understand very important topic. We can understand these price elasticity of demand by these diagrams also. Here perfectly elastic demand. So here a small change in price is going to will lead to large change in the demand. In this case price elastic demand will be infinity. Perfectly inelastic, yes, price may change, yes, price may increase or price may decrease, but the demand is not going to change. So in this case elasticity of demand will be 0. Then third one is unitary elastic demand. So here the change in price and the change in quantity both are equal. In this case price elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So relatively elastic demand. So here the change in quantity is more than change in price. In this case price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Then relatively inelastic demand. Here the change in quantity demanded is less than change in price. In this case, price elasticity of demand is equal to less than 1. So these are some 5 types of price elasticity of demand. So next let us study measurement of price elasticity of demand. So how we are going to measure the price elasticity of demand. So there are various methods are there to calculate price elasticity of demand. So here the first method is geometrical method. So geometrical method is also known as the point method. So this method was given by Professor Alfred Marshall. So here price elasticity of demand is measured at a particular point on a linear demand curve. So here we are going to draw a linear demand curve here. On that curve, on various points we are going to measure the price elasticity of demand. And here in this method, the formula to calculate price elasticity of demand is lower segment divided by the upper segment. So here you can see here ED is the demand curve, and here we are going to calculate the elasticity of demand lower segment divided by upper segment. So if you want to calculate elasticity of demand at point E, it means here elasticity of demand is equal to infinity, because ED lower segment is ED divided by 0. This is equal to infinity. And at point D, yes, here lower segment is 0 divided by ED is E to D. So here 0. So elasticity of demand is 0 here. At point A, lower segment divided by upper segment, that is AD divided by AE. So here elasticity of demand is greater than 1. And at point B, BD divided by BE, yes, unitary elasticity of demand. At point C means unitary means here elasticity of demand is equal to 1. In case of C, at point C, elasticity of demand is less than 1. So this is known as the geometric method. Then next method is total expenditure method. So this method is also given by Professor Alfred Marshall, and according to this method, elasticity of demand can be measured by considering the change in price and the change in the total quantity of goods purchased and the total amount of money spent on it. So here in total expenditure method, to calculate price elasticity of demand, we are going to consider the change in price and the change in quantity demanded and also the change in the expenditure. So but this method doesn't give exact numerical changes in quantity demanded of a good, rather it will tell the degree of elasticity of demand. There are 3 possibilities. The first one is if with a fall in price, yes, when price decreases, the total expenditure increases. Or with a rise in price means demand will fall, the total expenditure will also fall. In that case, elasticity of demand is greater than 1. So this is the first possibility. So here when price is going to decrease, total expenditure increases, because when price falls, demand increases. If demand increases, total expenditure will increase. Or when price is going to increase, demand will fall, then total expenditure will also fall. In this case, elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Then the second possibility is if with a rise or fall in the price, yes, if with a rise or fall in the price, the total expenditure remains same, it is known as the unitary elasticity of demand. So in this case, elasticity of demand is equal to 1. Here price may rise, price may fall, but the expenditure is going to remain same. The third possibility is if with a fall in price, the expenditure also falls, and with a rise in price, the total expenditure will also rise. Because here when price of the good is going to fall, demand will rise, but the expenditure will also fall here because the price has decreased. And when price rises, demand decreases, so the total expenditure will rise here because of the rise in the price. So in this case, elastic demand is less than 1. So these are the three possibilities here. So to calculate elasticity of demand by using expenditure method, here elastic demand is equal to 1 minus del change in expenditure divided by change in price, x into x change in price. So here ED means elasticity of demand, delta EXP means change in expenditure, x means initial demand, and delta P is change in price. So here you can observe, here elasticity of demand is greater than 1, and here elasticity of demand is equal to 1, and here elasticity of demand is less than 1. So these here prices are given. In these conditions, price is decreasing and total expenditure is increasing. So it is here elasticity of demand is greater than 1, and here price is decreasing but the total expenditure remains same, so ED is equal to 1. Here price is decreasing, total expenditure is also going to decrease. Here elastic demand is less than 1. This we can also show by using this diagram. So here in this range elastic demand is less than 1, here elasticity of demand is equal to 1, and here from here to here elastic demand is greater than 1. So next method is percentage method. So the price elastic demand is measured by its coefficient. This coefficient measures the percentage change in quantity demanded resulting from a percentage change in the price. So this is known as the percentage method. And here Q refers quantity demanded, P refers price, and delta means change. So the formula will be price elasticity of demand is equal to minus percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. This we can also write as minus delta Q divided by delta P multiplied by P divided by Q. Please remember this formula. Then the next method is arc method. By this method also we can calculate price elasticity of demand. So here the arc price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a price, and this arc method is going to take elasticity of demand at a particular point on the demand curve or between 2 points on the curve. So in this concept, arc elasticity is measured over the arc of the demand curve. So and here the formula is price elasticity of demand is equal to delta Q divided by delta P multiplied by P1 plus P2 divided by Q1 plus Q2. Yes, please remember this formula. And here we can calculate the price elasticity of demand by taking 2 points. So this is known as the arc elasticity of demand. So the next one is income elasticity of demand. So income elasticity of demand, it is an economic measure of how responsive the quantity demanded for a good to change in the income. When income changes, demand for the good is also going to change. It is known as the income elasticity of demand. And the formula to calculate income elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. So income elasticity of demand is equal to delta D divided by delta D divided by D, the whole divided by delta I divided by I. So here delta D is change in demand, D is original demand, delta I change in income, I is change original income. And when it comes to income elasticity of demand, there are three types. One is negative income elasticity. This is associated with inferior goods. And here when income increases, demand decreases. In case of positive elasticity, it is associated with luxurious goods. Here when income rises, demand also rises. zero income elasticity of demand. These are sticky goods such as electricity, gas, water, salt, cooking oil, etc. Price may increase or decrease, but the quantity demanded remains same. So income elasticity, if income elasticity is greater than 1 and less than infinity, then it is luxurious goods. Please remember, if income elasticity of a good is greater than 1 and less than infinity, it must be a luxurious good. If income elasticity is greater than 0 and less than 1, then it is a normal good. If income elasticity is less than 0, then it is an inferior good. Next, cross elasticity of demand. So cross elasticity of demand measures the percentage change of the quantity demanded for a good to the percentage change in price of another good. Then it is known as the cross elasticity of demand. For example, tea and coffee, there are two goods. When the price of coffee rises, the demand for tea rises. When the price of coffee decreases, demand for tea decreases. So it is known as the cross elasticity of demand. So the formula is elastic demand is equal to Py divided by delta N multiplied by delta Qn divided by delta Py. So please remember this formula. Py means original price of good Y, delta Py change in price of good Y, Qx original quantity demanded of good X, delta Qx change in the quantity demanded of good X. The cross elasticity of demand for a substitute good is always positive. This is because the demand for one good increases when the price of the substitute good increases. And alternatively, the cross elasticity of demand for complementary good is always negative. So please remember these 2 points. Okay friends, this is about our today's session. In the next video we will start with other topic